Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on December 15th, 2024 at approximately 4:30 p.m. PST. Now, I've made it my life's journey to show everybody that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, I bill myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the same tools I personally use in my day-to-day life. And the philosophies of life I talk about are the same philosophies that I guide virtually every movement I make by. With this in mind, I know these tools will work for you because they continue to work for me and have worked for literally thousands of other people over the years with varying degrees of success depending on their own personal efforts. Now, today we are going to be looking at, quite literally, celebration. Who is it actually for? The reality of it is that when we start looking at celebration, say, most people look at it and go, oh, this is a birthday celebration. Well, or it's a holiday celebration. The reality of it, from my experience, is that when we are looking at celebration, people participate in them not because of the fact that it's this day on the calendar, but because that sense of celebration does have a tendency of helping people feel a little better about themselves, about the way their life is going. Now, the reality of it is, when we look at the world, we have a choice in everything we do. You can either focus on the positive things and celebrate the successes in life, or you can look at how bad things are. Okay. Now, of course, every time something happens to somebody else, the odds are that you're looking at a situation where you've made a success, somebody else, because of the balance of energy, has to have made, and you have to have had a negative interaction, because reality works on a balance. It's just that simple. Okay. So when we take a look at celebration, why do it? Well, in all fairness, I look at celebration myself from the standpoint of what is happening, how am I feeling about it? Not so much is this going to put me in better light in somebody else's eyes. I will tell you, the people that do things or that celebrate something because it is expected, there is a very big difference in the way things look, in the way it feels. But that is something you're going to have to come to terms with, as it were. Not something I can for you. Now, one of the biggest things we have to look at is, what do we do with it? Because, like I mentioned yesterday, we are coming to the end of our year. We're coming to the end of 2024. Now, you can either turn around and go, okay, we're coming to the end of it. Let's look back over the past and see how much we didn't get done. Or we can look at it and go, I've made all these advancements, and I will get to that in half a moment. But before I do that, okay, we're going to start off reminding people Storm is in the wings here, making certain technology runs properly, and making sure if we do have any hiccups that they're dealt with. This is why I've got him as a moderator. And in all fairness, he volunteered to step into the place, and into the seat, as did LA Moon. Now, of course, LA has a very big tendency, and a much appreciated one, of making certain that I'm taking care of my health. Now, we got to realize that I've known these two for literally more than a decade. So there is a reason why I pay attention to what they've got to say. Okay, now, coming in with the goal today, and I'm hoping that she is still in the house, but we have LA, and we have, not LA, my apologies, we have Ferret in with the gold. Ferret, hopefully you're still here. And again, thanks for the well wishes. Glad you could make it. Hopefully you're still listening in the sidelines there. And we have Nathan from the Quantum Show. You know, and Nathan again is one of our moderators. He keeps an eye on things. Now, of course, the reality with Nathan is he does have a show of his own, and amazingly enough, he puts work before coming on air, which, quite frankly, I encourage all of you to do that. I've always held family first, then work, then entertainment. Now, yes, a lot of this is work for me. But I'll tell you, it's a lot more work for Storm in LA. But the reality is Nathan is here with the silver. And we slide down and we have Joe Stewart is in with the bronze. How you doing, Joe? Glad you could make it. Now, what do we got? And that is where we're standing right now. But we do have 7 in the room. Now, okay, let us understand something. Celebration is 99% of the time, from what I've found with the over 100,000 clients that I've dealt with over the years, well over. Okay, I have found that celebration is absolutely something that most people participate in because it helps them feel better. Okay, that's not to say anybody's being selfish. Okay, it really isn't. Christine, you are in with honorable mention. How you doing? Glad you could join us. Joe, I see you're into your 5th dream journal. Figured you'd finish it. I finished the 4th one off. The nice part about it, where we're talking about celebration now, people ask why I don't go to parties. Well, in all fairness, and I'm not saying you're asking, but I avoid parties because I don't like the crowds, and more often than not, I run into hiccups. So, I'm looking at this year, 2024, going, I've come to some interesting conclusions. And I know some of the people from my past are going to see this. You guys will know who you are. What I did find out, okay, now I've got a choice again. I can look at it and go, okay, I'm going to look at what's happened and go, this is either something to celebrate or something to get depressed about. Something to mourn. Rachel, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Okay, now, these are things that happened as far as I went. Now, years ago, I started writing this series. Last 2 years has been a nightmare. But this is the birth of the Wolfpack, the Elderbachian Chronicles. When I wrote this, okay, I was involved, when I started writing it, I was involved with a gaming crew, playing Dungeons and Dragons. Now, here's one of those revelations that came up in the last couple of weeks, within the last probably month or two. But the people that I thought were really connected to me through the gaming, as it turns out, weren't. Literally speaking, none of them return my contacts. Okay, like I shouldn't say none of them, but it's very cursory. It's like a 2-word response, and that's where it ends. Well, I had to look at that and go, okay, am I going to continue hanging on to this hope that they're going to reach out again? You may have the same problem. People that you thought you were connected to may not be responding to you anymore. Okay, now you can mourn their passing, or you can celebrate the fact that you're finding out where you personally are. Now, this crew, okay, these guys are the ones that this whole book was built on the backbone of, was a crew I gamed with in the early 80s. Okay, the sad part is they don't respond. So I'm looking at it going, okay, I had this illusion that there was this incredible connection, and you may well be going through the same thing. You've got the choice, like I do. I can go, oh, woe is me, these people I thought were connected aren't. I've wasted so much time. I didn't waste any time. Okay. I really didn't, and neither have you. So, after 2 years of going back and forth over this and getting really depressed over it, I've gotten back to the gaming. Now, here's where we stack it up, or back to the writing. Yo, here's where we double up on it. I used to go, and I've mentioned this to you guys before. I used to go to one restaurant. Okay, I thought I had a connection with the people there. I did not. Okay, so I'm not going out as much. This is a good thing. Now, I could mourn the fact that I don't have the connection, or I could sit here and go, yes, I pieced it together, and guess what? My ability to afford to live all of a sudden jumped because I'm not spending money where it's not appreciated. Okay. I'm certainly not spending it where it's costing me a problem. So add those two pieces together, and now I find out that my brothers are an interesting little problem. Okay. One thinks I'm completely off my rail, which, by the way, I've questioned that most of my life. And the other one thinks I'm totally incompetent. Now, why am I telling you this? Well, the reason for it is this. I spent 2 years fighting severe depression. You may not have known this, okay? Because like I said, I've got the free newsletter, which if you check the top of the stream, you'll find the link to it at buymeacoffee.com/innervoicej. Through that, you can get the free copy of the newsletter and any of the books or anything else I'm working on, including the access to my consulting. All of it can be got through there. So what I'm looking at now is, okay, I've got all these people from the past. You've got all these people from your past. You can carry dragging that chain with you. And I'm going to call to light this idea. I'm going to call to light this concept from A Christmas Carol. Okay, where I believe it was Morley, okay, is dragging around heavy chains from his past. You likely have heavy chains as well. Not because you did something wrong necessarily, so much as the connections you thought were there aren't. Now, you can keep holding on to them and trying to drag them forward, or you can go, okay, you guys aren't putting the effort in, I'm done. Oh, nice, Christine. Christine goes, I'm listening while I put up decorations. I almost didn't put up decorations this year. The real nice part, and there was a reason for that, but we'll get to that in a bit. Celebration is what we are looking at this point. I finally went, I've been trying to drag all this belief, all this, if you will, misconception with me. Now I'm not dragging it anymore. As soon as I did that, within 24 hours, my youngest son comes to me and goes, Dad, can we decorate? Right. I'd only put up a very little, and nobody had really put any focus on it. Right. So when he came to me, it's like, absolutely. So we ended up spending most of yesterday decorating our house. Now, this year, we don't have the time or the wherewithal to put a proper tree up. Okay. But that's not entirely a bad thing. Okay. We are decorating the whole 9 yards. But you got to remember, Christmas is not about the tree. It's not about the decoration. It's not my eyes. It's about the family. Okay. And in this case, in case you hadn't figured it out, I'm talking about your chosen family. Now, we can look at the past and hang on to all the things you didn't get done. Or we can take a look at Christmas. Now, I don't know your stand on Christmas. I will tell you this. Okay, and this is going to set some people off, but I have proven to other people, to people from various religions, that claim they don't follow Christmas, they actually do. Now, understand something. Christmas is a celebration of life. How many toys you got under the tree, or stuck in stockings, or whatever, isn't the biggest issue. Now, many of you may have this idea, well, we've got technology, I'll drop an email or I'll text. You really desire to make an impact on people? Pick up the phone. I'm going to sneeze. I hate that. How you doing, Renee? Glad you could join us. I don't like sneezing, by the way. But if when you're looking at it and you go, I'm going to drop an email to somebody or I'm going to text them, it is far more impactful to pick up the phone, stick it to your ear. It's not like they're hard to find nowadays. But pick up the phone and phone the people you care about. Okay? Yes, it might take a little bit longer to get on the phone or off it. Oh, there we go. LA's going, we decorated on Friday night. Had a good time doing it. Hot cocoa and snacks after. It was fun for Storm and I. And that's the whole thing about decorating. Make it enjoyable. Make it absolutely enjoyable. The time for mourning, the time for sitting and looking in the mirror and going, oh, my life is a shambles. Your life may be a shambles, don't get me wrong. But it's time to wake up and go, okay, I'm still breathing. Now, I'm a little reluctant to say what many people say, where they go, where there's life, there's hope. Well, I've seen a lot of life and I see hope very little. I knew hope years ago. She vanished out of the area. But when we take a look at celebration is a way to drive your energy up to help you feel better, not necessarily to help everybody else. Because I will tell you, now, by the way, certain things, and this is going to go a little sideways, certain things I recommend you don't celebrate. Okay. Many of you have had problem people you've had to deal with. Do not celebrate their passing because they likely meant something to somebody else. Okay. But celebrate the fact that you now have the freedom to move forward, that you're not dealing with that added pressure. In all fairness, if you haven't decorated already, whether you believe in Korean Christmas, whether you believe in Santa, doesn't matter. Okay, but let me ask you this. If the Christmas spirit does not exist, then why do so many people, and we'll take it outside of department stores, why do so many people out in public seem to try a little harder to actually make things a little easier for people, to make things a little bit more enjoyable? We could go to an extreme example back in, I forget which year, but back in World War I, I think it was 1914. On Christmas Day, in the middle of a war, no ceasefire was ordered, no commanding officer came out and said, quit fighting. But the Axis and the Allies, the Germans and the Allies came across no man's land to sit down, have Christmas dinner together, exchange gifts, and sing Christmas carols. Now, if that can happen in the middle of a war, why, pray tell, are we not focusing on that and making that the way of life? Never mind just one day of the year or just one season. Why not celebrate life itself on a daily basis? Yes, I just told you I went through 2 years of severe depression. Okay, but I will tell you, I can keep going back there and go, oh, I'm so depressed, I'm so disappointed in the world, I'm so whatever. I'm telling you, your guys' support on this line is, it has been absolutely invaluable in keeping me moving forward. Now, when you have a celebration, when you have a birthday coming up, people look at it and go, why celebrate a birthday? Well, it's a convenient place to reassess things and go, what am I going to do for the next year? It gives you a second option beyond just New Year's. And we will be getting to New Year's itself after the fact. Matter of fact, I'm just going to double check that right now. What do we got here? Okay, so we are going to be looking at Christmas and what have you. I think that's tomorrow. Nope. Christmas and what have you, we're going to be looking at on Tuesday. But when we look in the mirror, ask yourself, what are you content with? What has worked well for you? Okay, that's the real important thing we have to take a look at. Bad Daddy, how we doing? Glad you could join us. I do hope your days have been going well. You know, the neat part about it is this. We have a choice. We can look out the window and see all the things that are going wrong in society. Okay, but let me ask you this. Are you going to focus on what is going wrong, or are you going to focus on something like this? Okay, we had like over here, this is my work desk, really. Okay, it'll be cleared before the end of tonight. But because I work in my room, in my bedroom, I literally have to make certain that I get things sorted around while I'm working at it. I could look to the past and go, this is the way life has been. And rest assured, when I talk about remembering my early years, I'm not talking about the 60s when I was born. Okay, I'm talking lifetimes ago. People are still doing the same thing. Now, here's the kicker. Okay, people are still doing the same thing, just different toys. Now, we can complain about that, or we can go, okay, what are we doing right now? How are we going to change it? And how are we going to help people celebrate? So I will tell you, we're doing a massive revamp. I'm not getting into it right this moment. Okay, but we're doing a massive revamp of positive perceptions of this stream. You'll be notified before we get done in a couple of days. But celebration is to help you feel better. Okay. Now, I will tell you, prior to my other half coming into the equation, and quite seriously, her saying yes, she'll marry me when we get it worked out. Okay. Prior to that, I really did let everything go. Since then, I've been paying a lot more attention to how I'm feeling. And I will tell you, getting the clutter out of your area will loosen up the energy levels. Okay, the thing we got to realize is that you are affected by the environment in which you live. Now, you can get depressed about that, and don't take my word for this, give it a shot. If you haven't done it, pick up the pace and make it happen. Okay, if you've got clutter in your house, get it cleared out of the way. You'll find you feel better. Now, I will tell you, this may not make sense. Okay, but energy works like water. The more clutter you have, the slower the energy moves. Bad Daddy, I absolutely agree with you. Bad Daddy's he's just offered hard to let go of pain. Absolutely it is. Especially if that pain is betrayal. Okay. Now, I've shown you guys this before. Couple of things you can do to let go of the pain. Okay, I'm going to give you 3 things really. 1, whatever it is you're suffering pain from, grab a sheet of paper. Okay, and I kid you not, again, don't take my word for it, but understand this tool comes from over 100,000 clients. Okay, you take a sheet of paper, write a letter to either whoever or whatever has brought the pain about. Okay, write a letter stating how you feel about it, what it does to you, and if you can explain why you're still hanging on to it. Now bear in mind, if it is an individual, if for instance a friend betrayed you or hurt you, or you had a friend that passed away, this is not an issue of write the letter to send it to them. Okay, this is simply to write the letter and put it down on paper or put it down on desk, doesn't matter, you're never sending it anywhere. Okay, but you write it out, then you can dispose of it. That pulls the negative energy out of your body onto something else. And that's why you dispose of it. Now, some people have told me, oh, you have to burn the letter. No, you really don't. Okay, you can crumple it up and throw it in recycling. You can do what I do and put it through a shredder. Okay, burning it is rather an intriguing method. And for those of you that like to play with fire, absolutely have your fire, but remember to set up the safety precautions first. Now, I'm just looking here. Well, thank you very much for that, LA. I really do appreciate it. Now I just got to figure out how to get things to happen properly. But neat part about this is we can look at the past and go, oh, life is such a miserable thing. Or we can go, hey, I'm still breathing. Now understand, I'm 61. Okay, if I'd have taken the time and got it through my head, or if I had somebody to show me how, I wouldn't be in this state at this point. I'd have done it 40 years ago. But the one method is to write a letter. The second method is to take your hand, okay, it doesn't matter, right or left, put it palm down on something that usually sits on the ground. Now, that can be a heavy recliner, a couch, a table, a wall, the floor itself, doesn't matter. It's just something that normally sits there because you put your hand on it, palm down, and you visualize the excess energy coming out of your hand, much like water out of a faucet. You'll find this helps relieve a lot of that anger, a lot of that pain. Most pain is actually self-directed when you start looking at it. Yes, absolutely. If somebody's betrayed you, you're certainly going to start off with, they betrayed me. That's why I'm mad. But you know what I found out? Most people go, they betrayed me. That's why I'm mad. No. I'm actually more upset because of the fact that I let myself fall into that. And we have Kundalini King. How you doing? Glad you could join us. Oh, nice. Kundalini King is just saying, I have a bonfire going right now. My coach prompted me to write a letter to someone I want closure with, along with other prompts, and burn it under the full moon. This is an absolutely brilliant method. Works like a charm. I'd light a bonfire, but I think my apartment manager would complain. But bonfires are one of these things that brings everybody around. You think about it, way back in time, really. People used to sit around the bonfire and exchange stories and exchange, they'd have lots of laughter, lots of good food. Okay. Sometimes you got into a mess. But the second method is the energy. Now, whether you believe it or not isn't really relevant. Put your hand on the heavy object and simply imagine that pain going away. It's the imagination that is the key to your release. Okay, I'm not saying the pain that all of a sudden you'll feel 100% better overnight. Okay, I'd love to say that it does, but the reality of it is this: when we start looking at the world, okay, if you're going to hang on to pain, I'll tell you, it doesn't do you a lot of good. Now, the third method is perhaps the easiest one to pull off. find the fastest paced dance music you can find, whatever you like. Now, I strongly recommend not picking up music that says, kick your mother, shoot your father, watch the dog get run over. Things that talk about bad things happening. I don't care how fast paced they are, they have a negative impact. Okay. Now, I'm really glad that you've been around for that long there, Kundalini. Kundalini King is just letting us know he's been subbed for a few months, and now he's in the chat room, and this is fantastic. Welcome aboard. Welcome to the chat room. We really do work tirelessly, almost, to keep this as a safe place for everybody. Okay, this is why there are the rules at the top of the chat room. Okay, because, months ago, maybe a year ago now, I don't know. Okay, we had so many trolls in here. I decided having a heart attack was a really good idea. Thankfully, Storm and LA stepped into the saddle there and took over. The moderation for it. Net result, I don't have the problem. I still have tech problems like you wouldn't believe. Kundalini King, just a caution for your 13-year-old. And I'm really glad he's into it. In one sense, cautioning him about one thing about lucid dreaming. When we're talking about dreaming, dreams themselves are meant to bring information forth. Sometimes to give you a warning, sometimes to help you release some negativity, sometimes they're just a riot. The moment you get into lucid dreaming, which for those of you that don't know, is controlling your dreams. Now, it's great to control your dreams, but the one drawback is it eliminates the message potential of them. Okay, now, in my opinion, that's just my opinion as to whether it's a good idea. Doing it once in a while is no problem. Okay, I take a look at my life and I go, it's a shambles in a lot of ways. But I look at gaming, which you all know I do. Most of you do anyway. Gaming as in Dungeons and Dragons and the like. I take a look at that and I use that method to take a look, and to redesign my world. Intriguingly enough, it works like a charm for me. But when we are talking about, wouldn't it be nice to write down some of those old dreams, Joe? Joe's going, now that I think about it, even at 6 years old, I had weird dreams. I will be very happy to help there, Kundalini. I've still got kids. My youngest now is 19. Okay, but there's one or two options. Absolutely, get them to listen to this section, and I will be taking a look in the new year. As a matter of fact, that's an excellent idea. Where's my pen? There we are. That's an excellent idea. I'm looking for new topics for next year already. So, I am going to do one on lucid dreaming, the pros and cons. Don't know when yet in the new year, but I will be doing it. This, as you guys probably know, is my list method. Works like an absolute charm. So, I'm very happy to let them know, because the reality is, and I'm sure most of you agree, if your parents or the people you looked up to had shown you what the outcome of your actions were going to be before you did them, maybe you wouldn't have pulled some of the maneuvers you did. It's just a thought line. The nice, mind you, on the plus side there, Kundalini, most kids won't listen. Okay, Lord knows if I listened to my parents, I wouldn't actually be doing this right now, because I'd have never opened that door. But when we look at celebration, It is to help you feel better. Now, you take a look at this. Okay. Over here, these drawers used to be so full of pencils and what have you, I couldn't even open them. But I'll tell you, I moved the excess clutter out of this, and now this side of my room is starting to sort itself out. I'll use that term a little loosely. But it is time to look at the world and go, okay, the whole idea of coming into this world, I shouldn't say the whole idea. Okay. I'm going to sidetrack myself there. Ellie's just saying, when my youngster was starting to learn about the hidden things, I'd leave books or articles where he thought he was snooping. It helped some. Yeah, and that's an excellent idea. That really is. I'm in the middle of doing a couple of things. This year for Christmas is going to be a little loose. It's going to be a little lax, if you will. Storm's going, when I have the same dream multiple times, I will attempt to control it on the third night in order to evacuate the whole dreamscape to determine where the message and solution lie. Here's another thing about this issue of 3. When dreams happen in a 3-time pattern, first one gives you simply, that's a starting point. The second one gives you a marker, okay? And the third one gives you an event. Now, I will have to point out something, okay? And this is something I will have to cover in that particular one. But dreams that happen more than once, the same theme, tend to be precognitive in one sense or another. Now, Kundalini is asking, does a child dream in mother's womb? If so, what does the child dream of? Well, the first question, okay, the first question, as far as that goes, is yes, children dream in the womb. Now, I can't give you the statistical facts. How are we doing, Woo? Glad you could join us. I can tell you that it has been proven, you get to go look for the facts, that by brainwave tracking, okay, and various other things, they have proven that children in utero dream. I can tell you, I did personally. Of course, I had a really weird setup. Okay. Now, the neat part about all this is I've got it marked down, so we are going to cover this early in the new year. I don't know how far down the road I've got. I know I've got the first week dealt with. But that said, we have a choice. We can continue down the road we've been. Now, I laid out what I found out about what I've lost. I can hang on that. I can mourn on that. You can look at what you've lost or what you've let go of, and you can get depressed if you'd like. Or we can go, okay, where do we go from here? How are we going to make our life more enjoyable? Because I will tell you, the more individual people celebrate, it's very much like a child's laughter. The more you laugh, the more you smile, the more you celebrate. This is a contagious energy. It will affect the people in your neighborhood. It will affect your neighbors. Okay, again, don't take my word for it. Okay, well, Woo's just asking, how was your visit? I appreciate the question there, Woo. In a nutshell, we're engaged now, which might give you an idea where it's heading. We are already booked to go down in February to see her again. And then we are aiming at being in Las Vegas in May. So apparently it's going reasonably well. Absolutely they are, Ellie. Sensitive children, and by the way, children on the whole are more sensitive than people actually realize. One thing that most children have missed out on is they're not taught how to function. Okay, just a thought there, Kundalini. Okay, with your son, if it's been a rough 4 years, think back to before the real rough time came. Okay, Lunar, how we doing? Glad you could join us. You know, the important factor. Take a look at some of the things you did before that he enjoyed. Okay, bring back those memories just as a starting point. Okay, I had to tell somebody this about their parent that is going through some pretty rough times right now. You bring back discussions of, oh, do you remember when we did this? It will help them focus on the positive side of what's happening around them. Well, I'll be real blunt about this one. The odds are I won't be taking anybody, except maybe my kids, because my other Kira and I are looking at getting married at sea. Okay, so we'll be going for a week, and the fact of the matter is, we bring people along, and the odds are there's going to be a little problem with them being there the whole time because I'm sure not footing the bill for all of it. But we will certainly keep people posted. This is one of those things. I was married, ended up divorced. Fortunately, not for finance, not for infidelity. Therefore, my ex-wife and I are still friends. Okay. Now, I encourage you, especially if this is one of the hiccups you've gone through, put the negative past behind you. Meaning, clearly, if you were in a relationship and it has gone away, understand something brought you together. There was something good there. Okay. And this is what you focus on. Yeah, Kundalini, my eldest is 27, my youngest is 19. Both have come to me in the recent years and told me, look, you told me this. I didn't believe you, so I did my own thing. Now I'm coming to do what I should have done. What you warned me about. I had the same discussion sort of with my father. Of course, I made the mistake. I waited till after he was dead to have that discussion. And this is why I say absolute critical factor, absolutely imperative. I'm an absolute genius on occasion and a moron more often than not, but I'll get to that in a second. Make a point of making this a special year. Now, make a point of celebration. Whether you believe in Christmas or not, don't worry about it. Okay, take a look at the season. Take a look at the fact that virtually everybody around the world from every faith, okay, from every belief structure, still has a couple of things in common. Okay, everybody at this time of year pretty much does their best to help other people feel a little better. Now, the reason I made that comment, I'm an idiot on occasion, more often than not, is the best Christmas gift I ever had. Not the most life-changing. Okay, most life-changing Christmas gift I ever got, if I don't fall off the chair, okay, was this funny little thing. Okay, now, as I've told you, on my father's deathbed, I gave him my word that I would read. Yep, you got it. It's a Bible. I am absolutely Christian. I absolutely believe in God, believing in Christ, and believe it or not, I believe in Santa Claus. Right? Yes, I am still a child, so are you. But I told him I would read this Bible cover to cover. I am currently just over halfway through it. It's going to be a while before I finish. Okay. Now, that was the most, that wasn't the most important, the most life-changing. But I believe in all of what I just said. Here is the most life-changing tool or toy or anything I ever got was a deck of tarot cards. Now, these are rider weight, okay? But something you may not know is, from my understanding, from my memories, and don't take my word for it, do your own research. These funny things that there's so much bad publicity around, okay, were originally laid out to literally spread Christianity. Then the gypsies got a hold of them and figured out how to make money. Of course, in all fairness, when you look at the religions, the religious icons came along and said, hey, on the whole, they went, let's be nice to each other. And somehow the church figured out how to make money off of that. That worked well. By the way, money is not the root of all evil. Fear really ranks up there. Okay, but boy, did I ever digress on that. The most impactful gift I ever got. And I'm sitting there going, I don't have the money to do a lot in the way of Christmas this year. I just don't. But about 3 years before my older brother died, I was in real dire straits financially. Okay, never figured out what I was doing wrong until now. But what he did was he went to the grocery store, picked up a bunch of groceries, okay, wrapped each one. And I mean, it was just simple things like soup, vegetables, a thing of coffee, because, well, God knows I drink coffee. He wrapped each one of these in a box, in wrapping paper, put them all into a box, wrapped the box itself up, and stuck it under the tree. And I'll tell you, the fact that it was all food was the best thing that he could have put under the tree. No amount of stuffies, no amount of whirligigs or anything else could have had the same impact. Okay, now the neat part about it is we are looking at a couple of things very important here. I now, of course, brain finally kicks into gear. What am I going to do about Christmas? Well, the Christmas tree is not the critical factor. Okay, I do have a tablecloth that has a Christmas tree on it, so we'll just use that. Let's see. LA's going, this is my favorite deck as well. My first one is my favorite. My first one as well. Lunar is going, guitars and Christmas lights to neighbors who had us arrested a few years ago. Now, that is what I mean by putting your negative past to rest. Okay. Yes, you had an altercation. Okay. But you've taken that and gone, okay, it's Christmas. Here's some Christmas lights and decorations. And that's a brilliant idea. Okay, it really is. I got way too many Christmas decorations. Well, I always encourage people, forgive and let go. Trust for me is a little bit of a problem, as some people will readily acknowledge. But absolutely, you forgive enough that you can move forward. Okay, forget enough that it doesn't drag you down. But in my case, I have a problem with the forgetting thing, so I simply let as much go as I can get away with. But that is a fantastic idea. As a matter of fact, when what I'm going to do this year, because 2024 for me is going to be basically we're clearing the slate and going, okay, we're starting over. Now, this is the first year that I won't actually have a Christmas tree. However, every single year I've had a Christmas tree and we've had a poinsettia. Every year I get a new one. Okay, we got one here, so I'll use it as the center of the Christmas tree. I even know how to set that all up on the table now. So that works out beautifully. And LA's going, we're baking this week and our neighbors are getting some. That is exactly what a good friend of mine, his mom does all the time. So the end of this year, I'm not going to be spending and going, oh, what did I lose? What went wrong? I'm going to take a look at the Christmas decorations I've got And thank you so much for that idea there, Lunar. And I'm going to pack them up, wrap them, and turn them and give them away as Christmas gifts to other people. Because I'll tell you, Christmas has always been a very important factor. Okay, Renee, how you doing? Glad you could join us. You know, the neat part about it is if you take a look at North American Indians, okay, I don't know what people want to call them, what name you want to, or what handle you want to put on it, but they used to have a really neat tradition and may still have. I don't know for certain. They used to have these celebrations, potlucks, where you'd exchange gifts. If you couldn't use the gift or if you didn't like it, wrap it up and send it off again. Okay, send it to somebody else the following year or the next opportunity. This is what I'm going to spend after Christmas, in between Christmas and New Year's. We will end up sorting some of that out. And I will take a look at the excess that I've got and go, okay, Christmas is where everything that is still usable. I don't mean the broken garbage. I mean the things that still can be put to use. Now, yes, everyone does, pretty much. I mean, even I like cookies. Not so much the chocolate ones, but you are right, I keep putting it off. I do have a recipe for it, and I'm not much of a cook. But I do have a recipe for oatmeal cookies that actually works like a charm for me. You know, but I'm going to take a look at making certain the things that are good that still have value. And by the way, guys, real strong recommendation. Absolutely a recommendation. If you get the opportunity, if you can find it, there is an old animated show on TV somewhere. Maybe it's in YouTube, I don't know. It's an old one called Joy. I strongly recommend you go pick it up and watch it. Okay, around our house, it's been a case of before December 1st, nobody touches Christmas shows, Christmas songs. Nobody does. Okay, we make the change. Okay, I'll keep that in mind, LA, because you do realize we're coming down next year, if at all possible. And I do mean Kira and I are planning on coming down there again. So you guys aren't allowed to pass away anytime soon. It'll completely screw up travel plans. You know, it's funny, the amount of time and the amount I panic over traveling, it's amazing how many trips I'm making now. But that's because I've chosen to celebrate what is good. Okay, I've chosen with positive perspectives. I don't put bad news. But if you have something that happened that you know that you feel is good news, whether it's the way a business plan treated you, or you saw something on TV, okay, or you saw something on the news or in real life that is just something that happened that was great, i.e., we'll go with English. Thank you so much there, Kundalini. If you see anything, we look at it, around the world, there are wars all over the place. Now, we can panic over those or the dumb moves that many politicians and other leaders are making. We can worry about those, or we can look at the other side. You got all these wars going on, conflicts in the neighborhood, all kinds of problems. Okay, but I will tell you, do the math. There are way more per capita graduations, weddings, anniversaries, birthdays, Christmas events, holiday gatherings, way more than there are people involved. Than there are people involved in war. It's time we celebrate we celebrate the big things. Okay, if you look at the front page of your newspaper, you'll notice it is all full of who ripped off who murdered who blew up what. Get a hold of the media people. They're telling me, I used to get told by the media, oh, we put all the negative because that's what people want. I didn't believe them until the internet came out. And I noticed that there is a massive amount of stuff that says, here's who ripped who off. Hey, let's show these pictures because they embarrass those people. You don't want to see these people don't desire you to see these pictures. Take a look. Put yourself in their shoes. Okay. Karmic law. I've listed them at the top. Well, more to the point, Storm has put them at the top of the stream. Okay. Follow karmic law. Okay. If you do that and we work together at it, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, let me ask you this. Which is more likely? Are you more likely to smile at somebody that's smiling? Or are you more likely to smile at somebody that's screaming at you? Okay. Now, I've developed a bit of a different outlook on things. Okay, I really have. One of the things I look at is when somebody starts in on me now, I look at them and go, and I care why. The fact of the matter is, you've got a choice. But celebration is, how are you going to feel better? Now, here's the thing. I've played Dungeons and Dragons since I was 13. Okay, since the first Saturday of 1976. I have played Dungeons and Dragons. I've played some sort of game an average of twice a week for almost 50 years. What do I do it for? Because it helps me feel better. Okay, net result, I'm not stopping it. As a matter of fact, this here should be a little entertaining. There it is. I'm just curious here. If I take a look at this, where are we here? December. So, now this is the neat part. The weekend, the weeks coming up. I've got a game on Thursday, one on Saturday, then I'll end up with a game on Thursday, on the following Thursday, or not on Saturday, on Sunday. Another one on the 29th, which is on the Sunday. And then we will be having a special gaming session, okay, on the 31st. This is because it's our way of celebrating. It's our way of feeling better. Now I will caution you, I've got nothing against alcohol by any means, except, as many of you know, I was an alcoholic. Okay. But what I found is what alcohol actually does is it knocks out your trained and learned inhibitors, meaning your coping mechanism. Now, as the saying goes, everything in moderation. Okay, that means you take a look at everything you're doing. And if you desire a drink, absolutely. Assuming you're not alcoholic. Okay, a drink or two is not a problem. It can help break the ice. Remember that issue of inhibitors? If you would like to be able to talk, sometimes it helps. Okay, now, the other thing, I forgot about this one. When I talked about the music. Okay, just a thought, especially if you're sad. If you're having trouble and you're feeling sad, find a laugh track on YouTube. They got them all over the place of a child laughing. Okay, absolutely contagious. Now, and what do we got here? Joe's going, I've had a few dreams related to Christmas presents. Yeah, they're written down somewhere. Okay. And LA goes, I'd interpret that as your psychic telling you good gifts are coming. Now understand, a gift may not be a material thing. Maybe it is simply an awakening. Luna goes, most of my lucid dreams involve either an Earth catastrophe looking for survivors or alcohol asking what's the percentage. Okay, I was like that. But here's the thing, we've got this looming thing. Everybody says the world's ending. And this is the only negative I'm going to put into this. So many people tell me, and I've watched some of the best of the best and most researched individuals do it. Oh, the aliens are going to come down. Guys, get over it. I may be wrong, absolutely. But the fact of the matter is, they've got their own stuff going on. Our world is not ending anytime soon. As a friend of mine put it, yeah, our world is going to end in about 1 trillion years or so, when the sun gets to that point. You know, the nice part about it, when we look at celebration, okay, I'm going to be able to, thanks very much again, Lunar, it's going to be an interesting Christmas. I don't have a lot of money, but I'll tell you, it doesn't cost a lot of money to buy a chocolate bar. It really doesn't. But food can fill our entire table, okay, and we can make what we've got work, okay. Now, I don't know. I absolutely agree with you there, Kundalini, where Kundalini goes, you're giving the gift of that inner gold. This is the thing we have to look at. Okay. This is what it is imperative as a society we start looking at. Now, let me ask you this. Okay. Take a look at the worst politician you know. Okay. Take a look at the worst religious leader you know. Ask yourself this. Is it likely they are also human? Okay. The odds are they were a child at one point. Many of them, I swear, their brain still hasn't grown up. Okay. But ask yourself, what of them is there that is positive? Okay. And guys, let's not go with the idea of he's getting older or she's getting older. Okay. The one thing every corporeal on earth has in common, you're going to die. Okay. It's easy to die. I would really recommend finding a more peaceful way than some of the ones I've tried. Okay. But the real trick is find a way to really find a way to enjoy your life. I agree with you there, LA. LA goes, there's so many, I have trouble picking the worst. Don't worry about the worst. Pick anyone you have a problem with. That is, in all fairness, the reality behind it. Now, where did it go here? There we are. Lunar did it best when she goes, we gave gifts away. We gave our guitars away to somebody that reported us, that turned us into the police. Okay, or more to the point, had you arrested. Okay, find the worst person available, or whichever person. And I kid you not, the whole idea of this, and this is why I like the people in this room. This is only one of the reasons, by the way. Okay, you have, without a shadow of a doubt, you've shown me a way where I can take the limits that I've got and go, okay, now I'm going to make something happen. Now I can take that idea of giving and turn it over. It doesn't have to be big. I'm not talking about the biggest gift in the world. Okay. A simple smile is a gift that nobody complains when you give them back. Okay. I've had people ask what's that for? And my comeback on that is, oh, just smile. Keep them guessing. One of the biggest things that I look at is you can get really caught up in all the negative stuff going on. I'm not interested. It's not that I don't think that negative stuff happens. It does happen. We have to be informed. I should probably pay attention to politicians on occasion for that. Of course, I always ask one question. When a politician or anybody that is pushing for a promotion is telling you, this is what I'm going to do, and they pick some sort of big topic, I'm going to work on this and make it better because they screwed it up. My immediate question is, what are you doing behind that facade? What is your purpose? Now, I've got a whole new way of looking at things. Okay, an absolutely new way of looking at them. And here's a heads up for you for 2025. I found a local business with a good reputation where I will now be able to get, well, like I've already got the books coming, but now I'll be able to get coffee cups made, t-shirts, you name the stuff. This guy does it all. And like he said, he orders some of it in from out of town. I don't care. It keeps the bit of money in the local shops. This is why I'm doing it this way. But, if I'd have been smart and paid attention to what I was doing, I could have been in a lot better shape. Now I'm taking conditions into my own hands, and I'm encouraging you to follow suit. Now, take a wild stab in the dark just looking at this neat little celebration of Christmas. When do you think, in your eyes, I'm going to start working on next year's Christmas list? Okay, and next year's purchase, next year's planning for next Christmas. When do you figure I'm going to start doing and working on that? Just a curiosity thing. The fact of the matter is, it came to my attention. I can dwell on the negative. I absolutely can. Okay. But is that going to make me feel better? Does listening to depressing music make you feel better? Or does the high-paced, high-energy music help you feel better? Okay. Your call on which way you want to do it. I will tell you this. There is an old saying that goes, music soothes the savage breast. Meaning, music is what makes the heart lighter. Okay. I like the post I saw, and I can't find it now because I don't know how to find it. On Facebook, there was a post the other day. I'm just going to paraphrase, but it did tell you that, Ryan ice is bad for you, vodka on ice is bad for you, tequila on ice is bad for you, whiskey on ice is bad for you, Coca-Cola on ice is bad for you. Get it straight. Ice is not good for you. Drink it straight. I caution you on that. Remember what I said earlier about alcohol. It knocks out the trained and learned inhibitors. Okay. Now, I will tell you, one of the most important signs that I've come across, having been there, if you're drinking on your own, my suspicion is there is something missing. Okay. Sometimes, it'll happen. I used to do it a lot. Okay. Way too much. But I've come to the conclusion that we can sit there and complain about what's going on, or we can get up and go, no, I'm changing the way that world is going. I'm no longer buying into it. Now, the neat part about it, I'll deal with that tomorrow. Well, no, on Tuesday. One of the biggest things about celebration is if celebrating whatever it is you're celebrating makes you feel better. Okay? Absolutely. As long as you're following karmic law. Okay? Meaning, do unto others as you desire them. Well, be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Energy out, energy in. Okay, as long as you're following those three, you've got the makings of an absolutely brilliant tomorrow. Okay, heck, why wait that long? Start tonight. Okay, As a matter of fact, start now. Procrastination has never accomplished much, aside from delaying things. But it is up to you to decide, are you going to celebrate the life you have and celebrate the life you can have? Or are you going to sit there looking in the mirror going, I've made so many mistakes. Such and such is wrong. I'm telling you, and this won't make you feel better, by the way. There's always somebody that's had it worse. That won't make you feel better. There's always somebody that's got it better. That won't make you feel better either. Joe is just reiterating something. He goes, I'm not perfect, but still I'm trying my best. Just my 2 cents for anyone in chat other than me. Start a dream journal if you're really curious. That's if you want to. Absolutely, Joe. Okay. I've mentioned that many times. Now, I've got a daily journal that I literally, and I only write, sometimes I include dreams, but it really is more thoughts. Yeah, Kundalini goes, faith without works is dead. Pretty much. Okay, you take a look at every religion over the span of the entire world. They all talk about peace. They all talk about taking care of the sick and the sick and the poor. And yet, we have so many homeless people, so many addicts, so many people starving. Okay, these religions across the board. I'm not picking on one. I refuse to pick on one because I've never seen a difference. In certain parishes, there are differences. Certain parishes, covens, temples, call it what you will. Some have a good heart. Most of the mainstream, all of the mainstream that I've seen, are in a position we could end world poverty. Just like that. Except for one thing. That nasty little thing called greed. I need more. I'm sitting here looking at before I got on the stream tonight. Okay. I'm sitting here going, pull out of this nosedive because Christmas it's not going to be the same without a Christmas tree. It won't. But thanks to you guys, I'm going to take that neat little poinsettia of mine. Okay. I'll put it in the middle of my dining room table and make that the Christmas tree. Okay. Simply because I don't have the floor space to do otherwise. Absolutely. Now, Kundalini. And I'll give this one to you. I've given it to lots of people. All right, let me ask you this. And this is a direct question, Kundalini. If you don't feel like answering it, don't. I am curious. Would you like to break out of the alcoholism? Oh, fantastic. This is even better. Now, and this is where LA's statement comes in. LA goes recovered. Absolutely. Okay, Kundalini. You've got 3 weeks out. Average, I did 6 years ago in 2006. Fantastic. Okay. Now, the neat part is you're already out. So, if you're still struggling with it, there is a tool. Okay. If you're not struggling with it, it won't matter, but I'm going to drop it on your lap anyway. Okay. Now, for those of you that are still struggling, if you desire to quit drinking, or quit drugs, it doesn't matter which, take a recording device of whatever make you desire. Okay. Record. Now, this is the boring part. Record in it, on that recording device in your voice. Now, I'm talking alcohol, but drugs fits just as well. I no longer desire to drink alcohol. You repeatedly record that for a half hour solid. Okay. Then, when you're done recording, your boring part's finished. Now you take that recording every night when you're ready to go to sleep. You've done watching TV, you've done interacting with your family, you've done reading, you're ready to put your head down and go to sleep. Turn that recording on and let it run. Don't worry about letting it run. You don't have to loop it. Okay, just let it run. Average time for it to reprogram your brain 21 days. What happens is your desire to drink goes out the window. Okay, it just ends. No withdrawal, no struggle, and it comes to an end. And I know this works because I've given this method to thousands, to thousands of people, and had them quit drinking or alcohol, drinking or drugs without withdrawals. If you miss a day, go back over and start on day one for the time frame and carry on. It may take a little longer. See, now Kundalini. Kundalini goes, I don't struggle with it. I choose to use. Here's the thing. Most people I talk to are told you're an alcoholic or you're recovering alcoholic. I found that's not quite accurate. In my opinion, you're an alcoholic or you're a recovered alcoholic. If you can drink, if you've been an alcoholic and you can now sit down and have a drink if you choose or not, whether there's people around or not, you're recovered. That is a normal life. If you're still struggling if you're still struggling with it, you're still an alcoholic. And those of you that are going through the AA, through the AA program or the DA program, as in Alcoholics Anonymous or Drug Addicts Anonymous, if you're going through that or any other method, hats off to you. It does come to a better landing. Now, I used to drink a 26er a night without blinking, and I didn't even need somebody around me to do it. Either that or alcohol. I no longer suffer or fight with any of it to drugs ever. And alcohol I drink twice or three times a year. And that's it. But I can sit there with a coffee in my hand, happily in a bar, talking to people that are drinking heavily. Doesn't matter. The point being, when you celebrate, when you reach that point, and I will tell you, Kundalini, if you're still in recovery and you're still working at it, hats off to you. First of all, this goes to anybody listening. If you're listening in on this and you're going, but I'm still struggling, certainly you are. But yeah, Lunar, this is the whole thing. I encourage people to apologize to one person if you really desire to quit for you. The only person that you really have to apologize to, in a manner of speaking, is the one in the mirror. That's the one that you worry about. Because the reality is, an apology without action is not going to lead to much. The apology is great. I used to get forced to apologize for things. And I'd look at whoever and I'd go, please accept my most insincere apology to date. And I'd carry on. Yeah, and absolutely, Kundalini, you're on the right track. Absolutely, encouragement is absolutely necessary. I've talked to people on the street as often as I'm out and asked them what put them there. And I will help them where I can. But the fact of the matter is, if we all start doing this, people will start looking at each other and going, okay, so I'm an alcoholic. I'm not a bad person. That's ultimately, Kundalini, you are right. Sorry means you made a correction and you're not repeating it. Okay. I never bothered. Like, the fact of the matter is, when I look at the idea of mourning or celebration, I don't know what put everybody into the boat they're in. What I do know is if I smile at them and treat them like a person, it is better than kicking them while they're down. Here's the neat part. LA. LA goes, the kudos belong to God. The reality is, in my eyes anyway, God gave us all free will and free choice. However, that said, when you turn to God and ask for his support, and you find that support, absolutely give credit to God. If you got your support and you feel it came through an individual, give them credit for it. Okay? Ultimately, it boils down to this. Everybody requires assistance at some point. Okay? Everybody pretty much requires some sort of backup. Now, when things get really rough for me, okay, yes, I'm spending a lot more time talking to God and various other people in the past. The neat part about it is, and I'm not going down the rabbit hole as far as religion goes, I will tell you, however you find a way to help yourself be happier, whether you're taking strength from somebody else, because I will tell you, sometimes you gotta borrow the faith of another in time long enough to develop faith in yourself. Okay, now whether that's a person or a god or an icon, go ahead. I caution you on one thing. I knew a chap when I was a kid. I knew a chap that used to pray to a light bulb. Okay, it was under his staircase, and his parents were really good about it. They didn't worry about it. He'd go in there day and night, and he would pray to the light bulb. And for years, they'd go in once a week and change that light. They'd take it out and put a brand new, fresh one in. Unfortunately, one month, things got a little hectic, and they forgot to change the light bulb. In the middle of his prayer, in the middle of their son's prayer, to what he was worshiping as God, the light bulb. Don't do that, because he was doing that and it burnt out. His mind snapped, and they ended up having to put him away. Okay. Oh, this is fantastic there, Kundalini. Kundalini is just letting us know, and this is a message I really desire all of you to get, whether you're listening in the chat room now or you're listening at a later time. Okay, Kundalini's just let us know. My struggle is having no support. This has been a wonderful stream. I have to write this letter. My coach assigned me today. Absolutely. Whatever we are doing here, the whole goal of it is to help people realize that the support in this room has got to remain a safe, celebratory state. Okay. It's got to be safe for everybody. Okay. The fact that we get people coming in here like yourself, Kundalini, going, this has helped, is exactly why I have fought the idea of closing the stream down. I'm not. I will eventually. I'll probably die at some point and stay that way. But not yet. Wherever you get your support. Now, I'm guessing, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kundalini. Okay. Is that by any chance Latin? The Axis Mundi. Okay. See, I called my area, I literally call my area here, my Sanctum Sanctorum. Okay. And literally it boils down to, as you put here, a sacred space. I'm just not sure what language that is. which is just a curiosity thing on my part. But we have the opportunity to look at the world that is Latin. Thank you very much. It's one of these neat little languages that, well, people don't speak anymore, but it still is a root. Oh, got to show you guys. Told you I have a problem with being a bit of a dinosaur. Kira, my other half, turned an interesting computer over to me. So she is now teaching me how to use this, or more to the point, reminding me. Okay, that, in case you're not aware, is an abacus. Okay, way before the computer. What do we got here? Storm goes in astronomy. Axis mundi is the Latin term for the axis of the celestial poles. In a geocentric coordinate system, this is the axis of rotation of the celestial sphere. And I do appreciate that added information. You know, I am not an astronomer or a rocketry specialist. Okay, but I do like learning. Okay, I do like remembering. What does cause me some consternation is listening to people say that are claiming to be in the know and talking about things that don't add up. Okay, now I don't research, so most of what I deal with is literally what I personally have run into. You know, but the idea here, and next year, you know, this year we're winding it down, yes, because I've only got 2 more days. As of Tuesday, we will be off air until the 4th of January. But we'll cover that in the next couple of days. Right now, I'm looking at this issue of what do we do with celebration? Let me ask you this, okay? You came onto the stream. Now, this is literally what my goal is. One of my goals. You came on, you've come into the chat room, okay, and you were feeling in a certain fashion. Let me ask you this. Having listened, she's teaching me that too. Oh, newsflash. Thank you for bringing that up, Lunar. Okay. Kira, my other half, just brought me a piece of news just this week. Okay. She found out the gamers, as in Dungeons and Dragons and the entire myriad of role-playing games done on tabletop. There is a company that has just this week patented Braille polyhedron dice to enable blind people to game on a tabletop. Thank you so much for joining us there, Kundalini. Really appreciate it. You know, the nice part about all of this is we are right now closing in on Christmas. Okay. And now I know how to take what I've got with that minimal I've got available to me and make this a Christmas to remember. Every Christmas is one to remember, but I was starting to feel pretty down about the whole idea. But that problem, thanks to you guys, has been solved. You know, the important factor is we have a life right in front of us, all around us. What are we going to do to make it feel better? Okay, what are we going to do to remove the negative feelings? Now, some of you have come up with some brilliant input. I absolutely love it, of what you have done to put the negative past behind you. Okay, and you know, it really is, you know, now I keep forgetting who did what, but it really is imperative we put the negative past to rest. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us there, Lunar. You take care, and we'll happily see you next time you're in. You know, the neat part about all of this, oh, that's an excellent idea, LA. LA goes, during Christmas dinner, we each one share one or two things that blessed us in the year. It's a wonderful game. Oh, there we go. You know, the nice little part about the whole 9 yards, okay, is when we look at our life, we can look at what's gone wrong, or we can look at what we've done, what we haven't done, or the whole 9 yards. Okay, I will tell you this. I stopped working diligently on my writings. 2 years will do that to you. You know, depression will do that to you. I started back up again. And, you know, to that end, I turned around, and this here now has a whole list of the different books I'm in the middle of writing on. That I'm in the middle of writing. They're already in production. Okay, it's time to get them tied off. But I can carry on looking at the past and going, oh, woe is me. You guys have made it fabulous for me. I will tell you, and maybe I'm being selfish, but I'll tell you, if it weren't for Storm and LA handling the backdrop on this, I would have a lot harder time making it work. So we have an option. What are we going to do to make this a better world for people? Now, I've already figured out a brilliant solution to a lot of things. Okay. And, you know, I figured out, no, scratch that. You guys did. But what you've done is said, okay, here is giving back. I've been giving all kinds of ideas on the way I work things. I don't get it all. I'm not perfect. But as Joe Stewart puts it, yeah. Robert, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Robert White, he goes, mine would be a continued heartbeat. You guys and a sarcasm attitude to beat the depressions when they emerge. Well, I will tell you this. Keep the heart going. Okay. I've tried the heart attacks multiple times. Tried one stroke. Don't do them. Strokes are a royal pain. Okay, they absolutely are. But you do realize there, Robert, there's an old saying that goes, there is a fine line between both genius and insanity, and between genius and sarcasm. Okay, sarcasm is a great tool to help you cope with things. Okay, and sadly, I've become somewhat, shall we say, over excessive on occasion. You know, I mean, I've looked at some people and gone, yeah, and I do agree with LA. LA goes, yes, indeed, Robert. I'm grateful with you. The world is better with you in it. You know, there are people I know of, lots of people like you guys, that the world is better with you in it. There are many people that, sad to say, I literally look at them on occasion and go, you know, I'm thinking the world would be a lot better with you in it. Of course, you know, they keep trying to put, and I keep coming back before I get there. But you've got to look at the world and go, well, you don't have to. Remember that thing about freedom of choice? You can look at the depressing side. I encourage you, quite seriously, to contact whatever news feed you're getting and tell them, look, thanks for letting me know all the depression stuff, but would you mind saying something positive? You know, just something. There are a lot of marriages going on, a lot of, you know, graduations, all kinds of things going on that are positive, which gives me a whole pile of things I can work with. Don't worry, it's just a letter opener. My knife is up on the wall. But we have an opportunity here to either put our hands together and do that really neat thing. You know, I saw it put on Facebook one day. You know, this is really great. You know what this is, other than the monkey, right? But when you look at it and you're clapping, this is literally hitting yourself because you're happy. Okay. Now, whatever makes you happy, providing you're following karmic law, stick to it. Okay, absolutely. Remember, it was said really well on Endgame on Avengers Endgame. You may not have watched it, but it was said really well. Okay, where it says, if you feel something is right, okay, regardless of even if the rest of the world is telling you it's wrong, if you know it's right, you owe it to yourself. And I am paraphrasing. You owe it to yourself to stand your ground. Okay. Now, understand something. Written law. Don't break it. Just a bad idea. Now, personally, I look at it going, I don't like the vertical bar scene. Now, decades ago, I was showing this one. I'm not going to tell you who it was because somebody's going to take offense. But there is a term for this. Okay. Now, you notice there's no noise, no matter how hard you put. It was a guy from this community that told me about it. I'm not telling you what community it was, because if I do, somebody on the air, somebody's going to look at this and go, oh, you're just, you're making a derogatory comment towards these people. The reality is, I look at all people identically. Okay, you're all the same in a lot of ways. You all have value. And that, one of the biggest things that we have to look at here is this neat little issue. Okay, this, if you haven't done it already, these 4 words, I am worth it. Okay, absolutely get them on your freezer. Okay, and get them on your fridge freezer in the kitchen. Okay, they are the 4 most powerful words I've come across in any language regarding self-esteem, self-worth, self-motivation, self-image. You get the idea. Okay, absolutely put them to use. Okay, we are, as we bring this year to a close, we are slowing things down, but only because, well, we have Christmas coming up and New Year's, all the time in between. But I'm telling you, it is absolutely critical that we take a look at what we have. Yeah, no doubt there. Robert's going, that's the knife. Mine's hanging up on the wall. And no, I can't reach it at this point, so I'm not going to fight with it. But if you look right up above this picture behind me, that thing on the wall there, that is a Bowie knife. Okay, just a little thing. Okay, I actually took it down to my dad to take a look at it one year. It took a decade for him to find it again, but I've got it back. Now the important thing we look at right now, you got a choice. Okay, thanks to LA Moon, this stream ended up taking on the concept of positive perceptions. Okay, meaning we take a look at what's right with the world, not what's wrong with it. Okay, there's a lot of things wrong with it. Here's one of the biggest things I got wrong with my world. This is my coffee cup. Okay, and I'm down to that much coffee in my cup. Okay, it was funny. I told my fiance a few months back. I went, I'm running low on coffee. I've only got 6 months in stock. Now, turns out 6 months apparently is not close to running out. but it might give you an idea what I think of coffee. So I really encourage you, take a look over your last year. Okay, start putting together a list of what you're actually happy about. Well, that was my thought. You know, and I go, that's catastrophic. You know, it's absolutely terrible when you're getting down on certain things. You know, coffee doesn't help other people. But I will tell you, in most cases, a good cup of coffee will make people easier to deal with. You know, for me, I've got a lot of changes I'm planning on making. And I will tell you very emphatically, next year, we've got a whole new array of stuff coming out. I am bound and determined to make this world, to show people and lead by example, to make this world a better world for virtually everybody. Now, I know this is going to upset a bunch of people. Okay, now here's the one thing. When I look at how I'm working with local businesses as compared to big box chain, yes, big box businesses employ a lot of people, and they do put money in the community for the people working at them. But the massive majority of the profit goes back to wherever that company is. Now, this is why I say celebrate your local area. Deal with your local community. Deal with local businesses. Because what you're doing there is the money you spend there. It may be a little more expensive, absolutely. But the money you spend there is sure to come back into your community and not just keep the people around you working, but it will help bolster what's going on. Okay. I also strongly encourage you, get in touch with the politicians and the big businesses. Urge them to move their manufacturing back home. Okay, now yes, they're interested in money. It's cheaper to go and pay somebody 3 cents for an hour's work than it is to pay somebody $1. Absolutely it is. Okay, but if enough people start dealing with the locals and start encouraging these people to bring your manufacturing home, your community will prosper. This is a natural side effect. Okay, and for those of you going to a church, a temple, a coven, okay, or any other variation of that, go in, encourage them to start opening their coffers and start feeding the poor the way they. Okay, there is no reason, no functional reason for us to leave so many people starving on the street and freezing on the street. It's not just the nonprofit society's job. It's each and every one of us. Each and every one of us have that responsibility. Okay, this is something we have to look at. Well, you don't have to, but you get the idea. Yeah. Joe goes, I am not weird. I'm gifted, and I am worth it. Is on my front upstairs bedroom door, and I'm weird. You know, the funny thing is, I've shown you the one sign that's over sitting there that says I am worth it. I've got the same sign right above my computer. I've got one on my fridge and one on the outside of my apartment door. Okay. As for the other neat little one, what's that? Yeah. Where did I put it? No, we'll ignore that. The other one I've got is this. Sure, you recognize this. Whoa, Joe. I've got that on my filing cabinet. You know, I'm not weird. I'm gifted. I've got another one around here somewhere that says, I don't suffer from insanity. I enjoy every minute of it. You know, the nice part about it this is the impact. I look at it going, I don't know how many people I'm reaching, but I am looking at this going, if we look at what I've got, okay, yes, we've only got 6 in the room right now, but we've got 646 subscribers. Okay, I've got, what is it now? About 60 subscribers getting positive perspectives. So we take a brain box here and we go 600 and 645, 645 or 645. 645 plus another 60. Okay. That I've got on positive perspectives. Okay. Plus what I've got on Facebook, which is I think something like 1,200 or so. I wonder if I can get that information real quick here. Where are we? I have no idea, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm over 1,200 anyway on Facebook. So I take that, and we add 1,200, multiply that by 6. Okay, simply because of a factor there. We go equals that times 6. Yeah, that didn't work. When you look at that, we are reaching people. And this is what we've got to do. I'm not some bigwig that's got billions of dollars to play with. I really don't have a lot. But together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. 645 plus 60 plus 1,200 equals times 6 equals, now that would be 11,000. Okay, that we're reaching just there. But the neat part about it is if we take that 645 and we multiply it by the after posting views, which is usually around 50, we're now reaching, with only 646 subscribers, we are reaching 32,000 people, and the numbers are growing. And every time you reach out, thanks so much for that, LA. Every time you guys reach out and help and affect the people around you, we're affecting all of the people on earth in some way. And I mean, I like what Joe told me one day. I said, I do intend on making Positive Perspectives, the newsletter, go global. And he goes, it already is. Okay, it's these little things you guys point out, or seemingly little things that you point out, that make all the difference in the world. Now, granted, I could look at it and go, I could have kept looking at Christmas going, I don't have the money to deal with what I'd like to. But that doesn't mean I can't make this a better world. Robert goes, insert Steve Austin music. We can build them. We have the technology. He can become the first $6 million coffee man. I love the idea. I have that now. As I told you guys, there's been a lot going on that I've had to struggle with. I finally made a decision where I am moving forward, one way or the other. I am going to get that 6-figure balance. I don't care about the 6-figure balance. And to show you, to explain that, I worked out an algorithm whereby I can safely put 80% of my net profit over the $2,500 I require to cover my rent, to cover my living. Okay, I've got a way to do it where 80% can go back to the population. Okay, I don't require $1 million a day to live. Okay, but I did make a decision myself years ago I did not ask for this world to be the way it is. But dagnabbit, I'm going to have the best of the best. And I'll tell you, out of 8 billion people on the planet, okay, so we can cut that down, go to about 4 billion women. I picked for me the best of the best, okay, and thankfully, when I asked her, she said yes. Okay, this is just one of those changes. And I will tell you, for those of you that don't have a partner, I will tell you, yes, there's struggle that goes with it. And you can look at all the things that went wrong. You can, if you've lost a partner before or lost a boyfriend or a girlfriend, yes, you can dwell on what went wrong. Okay. You know, the reality of it is, and Robert White goes, I don't need it, but it would help. The neat part about it is this: you can dwell on what went wrong, or you can go, okay, that was that person. Okay, this one is different, so I'm going to look at the positive things that are going on. This is what we have to look at. Well, we don't have to. Freedom of choice, you can look at the depressing side if you'd like. It's funny, I'm just looking back at this thing about Steve Austin. I used to watch, that was one of the few shows I literally would go out of my way to watch, was The $6 Million Man. And then, of course, we had The Bionic Woman starring Lindsay Wagner. I used to watch them all the time. Now, I'm going back into exercise. I started about, I don't know, a week and a half ago, getting back into exercising so my body works properly. This is what we're looking at. This is the fact that we are trying to encourage, we encourage everyone, make the most of the life you have. Make the most of the connections you have. And get out there and interact and communicate with each other, because working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. We're not going to help everybody. Some people refuse to change. Primarily, it seems, but I'm getting 8 billion, I'm making $8 million a day. I've got everything I need. Except I look over my shoulder all the time wondering who's going to try and rip me off. Oh, yeah. He said, LA goes, sometimes God's best answers in their matters is a firm no. There's plenty of evidence that no is a loving answer. The reality of it is, and I could go through all sorts of parables of things that have happened where somebody didn't get what they desired, what they asked for, but got what they required. This is what we're aiming for. Okay? It's time that with this many people, we can change this world. We can celebrate hand in hand, regardless of your faith, regardless of your gender, regardless of your skin color. Doesn't matter. Every one of you has one thing in common. Sooner or later, you're going to die. Okay? Guaranteed, sooner or later, it's going to happen. Okay? Sooner or later, you're going to lose somebody close to you. It is something that's going to happen. And nobody gets away with it. Like the saying goes, you're not getting out of this world alive. And I know this from practical experience because they keep taking me out of here and bringing me back. Granted, they take me out. I don't know why they keep bringing me back, aside from to remind you guys that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, quite frankly, we're coming right down to the wire here. Only a couple of shows left, okay, of this year. I'm not closing the doors. Not going to happen. But we are going to end up taking a break in a couple of days. So absolutely, get a hold of your friends, get a hold of your enemies, get a hold of total strangers. Let them know we're here. Let's turn around and make this world a better world for virtually everybody. quite frankly, everybody is invited. If there is a problem, Robert goes, roll perception for Earth return. Yeah, I'll tell you, you gotta really watch for some of those returns. The reality of it is, from my standpoint, I'm looking at this going, okay, 2 years in depression. I'm going to the other side of it, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life, if I can manage to pull it off, really pushing the envelope to spend the next 40 years in celebration. I'm thinking if I intend on being here, I may as well enjoy it. And thank you there, LA. Now, I want to thank, we're down under the 5, so I want to thank you all so very much for sharing your time with us tonight. Really appreciate it. Great input. Fantastic ideas that have really helped me personally. I will be back again tomorrow, 4:30 p.m. PST. Okay, until then, do take care of yourselves and each other.